What up, everybody? Dirty Digits Scratch DJ Academy, live and direct from New York City. And we're back again with Monster Energy for another episode of the Crush Quarantine series. And we put so much focus on moving the platter and getting connected with the beat up to this point, it makes the most sense for us to talk about getting the Crossfader involved today. So we're diving into the forward scratch. So let's get to our gear and let's go. Now for us to do the forward scratch, it's really important that we get in a comfortable position behind our gear. So I'm placing my body in front of the platter that I'm going to be using, getting my hand on 9 o'clock as always, and I'm going to put my other hand on the crossfader. I'm using my crossfader in regular position, so you'll see as I go away from the platter that I'm using, it will turn the sound off. Other DJs like to use what they call hamster mode or reverse mode. So for those DJs, when they move it towards the platter that they're using, that's where they turn the sound off. There's no right or wrong here. It's really a personal preference, whatever you like to use. Just think of the crossfader as on, off, and we can all get this together. So for us to do the forward scratch, it's really important that we're going to start with the crossfader open, our hand on the platter, and the first step, we're going to move this thing forward, staying connected to the platter the whole time. The next step is that we're going to close the fader. The third step is we'll bring it back to the top. And the fourth step is we'll open it back up. And that's really it. What makes it the forward scratch is we're using the crossfader to eliminate that backwards and return motion so you don't hear it. So it sounds and looks like this. Another helpful tip is crossfader curve control. You want to make sure your crossfader curve control is set all the way to sharp or fast or all the way to the right to make sure you have a nice sharp volume that drops off all at once. If your crossfader doesn't have a curve control or set the other way, you'll notice it sort of fade out like this. And that's going to get in the way of us doing the scratch. So one more time, I'm going to set my fader back to sharp and I'm going to do it so you hear it full volume. And then it just turns off. So that's how we want to have our fader set to really do this scratch. So one more time, I'm going to get into this again. Open, forward, close, back, open. And that's really it. And that's the forward scratch. I'm going to keep my hand connected. So we have 4 steps. We're going to use beats in 4/4 time. So it should be really easy to get a groove here. So let's drop a beat and get after it. Now again, we just want to make sure we're connected to the beat as we go. So I'm going to take one step and put it per movement, right? So it's going to sound like this. So I'm going to go forward, close, back, open. Make sure you think of each step before you do the next one. Forward, close, back, open. You can think of it as record, fader. So record, fader, record, fader. However you connected with that idea. One more time. Forward, close, back, open. And that's the idea of the forward scratch. So we were just doing a full note scratch right there, like the drag scratch where we move it twice in each bar. Let's try to get it after that. So I'm going to do every other beat. It's going to sound like this. The next step is the baby speed. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get a forward scratch on every single downbeat as this goes here. So 5, 6, 7, 8. The last step is trying to get that double time scribble scratch feeling. So we're going to try to get 8th notes as we go here. So I'm going to try to do a forward scratch on every downbeat and every upbeat. Here we go. Now, while we're here, it makes the most sense for us to talk about releasing the record. If I do a little different movement, I can get a different scratch. So if I release every time I go forward, we call that the chop scratch. So it's going to go release, close, back, open. Release, close, back, open. Release, close, back, open. Let's go through a couple exercises with that before we get out of here. So the next tempo is the drag tempo. So it's going to be one motion per beat. So we're going to get 2 releases or half notes. So here's the chop. The trick to this is I want to lift up and have this forward release momentum as we go. We don't want to pull our hand back. We want to follow the vinyl. So let's try to get these baby quarter note timing here. If you pull your hand back or pull your hand away, you're just making it harder. So really try to follow the vinyl or follow the platter as you let go. Last is the scribble scratch before we get out of here. And that's the forward scratch. It's really the foundation of a lot of other scratches that come to follow suit. Just like we switched up the record motion in the last couple of examples of our exercise, we're gonna do the same thing when we level up in the next video with the stab scratch. So until then, Dirty Digits, Scratch DJ Academy, New York City, and peace.